and we're gonna go into part 2. I'm going to post part 1 later this evening. Like I said, I want to end at 7 so I have the time to get these videos out for y'all. I gotta make the thumbnails, I gotta figure out these hashtags, I gotta get all that situated and going on. So hopefully we can make it happen. But either way, look, we're back. We got another video. We're gonna go ahead and start with the intro. So let's not waste no more time. Let's go ahead and get into things. All right, let's go. Yo, right here. Right here in the small box. Right here in the small box. Welcome back to Single Seater Reactions only on the Flex My Network. I'm Flex. Welcome back to the channel. Hey, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think about the video. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think about the reaction. Yo, shout out to the live chat up above. I appreciate every single person in this chat currently. I got nothing but love for y'all. Not even currently. Anybody that even just reaches out. You know, shout out to anybody that reaches out in the live chat. You know, unless you're coming in with some attitude. Stay out of here. Anyway, my point is, I got nothing but love for y'all. Shout out to Flex Mob. Shout out TW for the name. I appreciate you, bro. Flex Mob wouldn't be possible if you didn't say something, bro. Well, I appreciate you. Regardless. Maybe I can make a... Okay, how about this? I can make a mock-up. A little mock-up t-shirt. Not saying it's real. But I just want to do it just to show y'all that I really do this for real when it comes down to graphic design for clothing companies. So I'm probably going to work on that on the side. Not saying it's going to be like coming out tomorrow or anything. Or going to be a rush job. But I'm going to be working on it slowly. Just a little fun project for y'all, you know. Not saying it's definitely not going on sale. So let's cut that out. But it's just like a little passion project on the side. You know, something to do. But anyway, look. Make sure to hit that notification bell, eh? No cap. Make sure to hit that notification bell for real. Look, we going crazy out here. Shout out everybody in the chat. Look, let's go into this, all right? Y'all know I like to talk too much. Let's just go. Let's just go. Talk to me, Jalopy. This video is titled Drake Isn't the Only Master Manipulator, Part 2. So let's get into things. Let's do it.
This video is about to get very surgical, so stay with me, okay? A lot of people been asking me, where's part 2? Where's part 2?
Hey, Tammy, do what you got to do.
If you didn't
Girl,
know,
don't you worry about us. Do what you got to do. Everybody got a life to live. Get to work, you know? We're going to do what we can over here. Okay? We appreciate you for stopping by. Take care.
Today is the 1-year anniversary of when J. Cole went on stage in front of thousands.
And thank you.
And apologized to Kendrick Lamar. Okay? Ironically, a year later at the same fest, he did 2 things that I knew he would do. 2 things that I knew he would do. 2 things that nobody's talking about.
Yo, Anthony, that's kind of scary. I'm not going to lie, bro. That's kind of scary for real. Damn, bro.
Okay? And these 2 things validate the points that I made in part 1. Now, before we get to that, we also got to talk about a couple more lines in Port Antonio. And when I get into that part of this video, I'm gonna break a whole lot of hearts. Okay? A lot of J. Cole fans gonna have their heart broken. Because there's another part of Port Antonio that nobody talks about. But before I get to that, did y'all know that J. Cole already did something just like this before?
Really?
And he actually tried to use the same tactics in what he did before in Port Antonio.
Yo, tell me more, brother.
Yeah. Some of y'all already know what I'm talking about. We're going to talk about Snow and the Bluff today. The diss track that J. Cole put out against No Name Gypsy. Okay? A lot of people don't talk about this song. But when I went and looked through the lyrics, I'm like, wait a minute. He's tried this formula already. Okay? And in both situations...
Yo, I completely forgot about Snow on the Bluff. Yo, I completely forgot about Snow on the Bluff. Yo. I see why it's surgical. Let's go.
Situations, his reputation was seen to be at stake. Now, if y'all don't remember, this was during a time where there was a whole bunch of crazy stuff going on in the community. And No Name Gypsy, who was pretty much a known activist who's doing work in the streets, using her platform, etc., made a tweet. Didn't even say J. Cole's name. Made a tweet stating there's a lot of rappers out there who talk a whole lot about what they're gonna, the communities and all that in their music, but you never see them participate in anything in the streets. Okay? J. Cole decided to respond to this by doing this. And what do you know? Remember my main point of being that J. Cole pretends to be naive? That J. Cole, what he does is pretend to act like he has no idea what's going on. Well, look at the first 2 lines of this diss track. People be thinking I'm deep intelligent, full with my college degree. My IQ is average. There's a young lady out there, she way smarter than me. Now, initially, people think this is his attempt of, being humble and being, no. This is the same exact thing he always does. Whenever the lights are on him, when it's time for criticism, he plays naive. He plays like he has no idea what's going on. And he pretends like he doesn't know what he's doing when he's trying to create a narrative through a verse.
It's like a strategy for him.
She mad at these capitalists, mad at these murder police. She mad at our ignorance, wear her heart on her sleeve. She mad at celebrities, and low key I think that she talking about me. I wonder why you feel like she talking about you. Okay? Now I ain't no dummy to think I'm above criticism, so when I see something that's valid, I listen, but it's something about the queen tone that's bothering me. Okay? Now, he then goes, I'm not even gonna read all the lyrics, but he then goes on to break down this whole idea of the fact that No Name Gypsy more than likely grew up in an environment where her parents were able to give her this idea of what's going on in the communities and all this different stuff. And because of this, she believes that she can talk down on people who don't understand that. It sounds very good until you remember there's a reason why you weren't shown or taught these things. Because you didn't grow up in a community that would force you to recognize these things. J. Cole grew up in a suburb and was raised by his German mother.
Oh, shoot.
Why would you be in a position to be taught these things? Now, instead of saying like, oh, I wasn't taught these things because I didn't grow up in that, he makes it seem like he's just one of those ignorant niggas who was in the streets too much so they didn't really understand enough. Wasn't smart enough so they didn't understand enough. No. You weren't aware of these things because you didn't grow up in that environment. And you didn't have a black mother, which is totally fine. I'm not blaming him for that. But you didn't have the influence of what it is to be of somebody of black American descent in your household. That's why you weren't taught these things. Instead, he attempts to spin it and pretend that No Name Gypsy is arrogant and condescending. And he hides this message.
Imagine you have the power to rap and this is what you do. He has complete control over his lyrics. He's put together some bars that will just make you sit there and be like, Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, all this extra hula hooping, hurdling that you're trying to do so you can come out as a superior. Bro, just rap. This is too much work. I see why you burn yourself out sometimes. Because you're putting too much strategy into how you want to perform. Sometimes you just got to do a freestyle and charge it to the game, bruh. That's all you got to do for real.
Behind the humble idea of what is the point of preaching your message to people that already believe what you believe? Like, it's like, he knows exactly what he's doing. The change is inevitable, therefore we just gotta learn everything as we go. I struggle with thoughts on a daily. Feel like a slave that somehow to saved enough coins to buy his way out of slavery. Like, he's paying this idea of him being somebody who grew up in the projects around a bunch of you know what I'm saying, in this environment. And because of that, he can't understand or participate in what No Name Gypsy is talking about. It's the same exact method he used in Port Antonio, okay? Where there's a little bit of vulnerability, but not enough accountability. Well, maybe because deep down, I know I ain't doing enough. You see what I'm saying? This is where he starts to paint himself as the victim. That's what this whole song is about. Painting himself as the victim. Sounds like somebody else I know. Anyway. This whole song and this whole concept is no different than the exact same thing he did on Port Antonio. He dropped it as a surprise. He did it at the height of the criticism of people pointing it out to, hey, you are this or you are that. And he spins the narrative back on the people who, on No Name Gypsy. You see what I'm saying? And the crazy thing is, nobody talks about the fact when No Name Gypsy responded, she really pointed out these.
That actually brings up a good point. Because Snow on the Bluff, that was prior to LA Leakers freestyle. Because as much as some people wanted to see J. Cole there, aside from him releasing the album, it didn't really make sense to, like, why did you just, like, me looking at it, because I just look at things a little different, I'm like, no, this doesn't make sense. This is just a little too random. I know a lot of y'all won't understand that. That's fine. It's my own theory. It's my own entertainment I'm providing. But I look at it just a little different. My initial thought when I sat there, I'm like, why are you here? Usually promoting an album, you just go to the Breakfast Club and talk. Or you do your whole podcast run. Because you're going to get more eyes on you from that. But playing into the marketing game now, you want to let people know that you still got it. You know, so it does make sense, but at the same time, me personally, I don't get it. Not saying it doesn't make sense, I don't get the play. I don't know. I just be thinking different sometimes, you know?
It's flaws. Okay? So that's how you know I'm not tripping. And based on the people who watch part one, y'all not tripping, because I never seen that many people in my comments agree with what I had to say. She says, I saw a demon on my shoulder is looking like patriarchy, like scrubbing blood off the ceiling and bleaching another carpet. How my house get haunted? Why Toyin body don't embody all the life she wanted? A baby this 19, and that's the little girl that had died, right? He then says one girl go missing, another one go missing. But niggas in the back quiet as a church mouse. Basement studio when duty calls to get the verse out. I guess the ego's hurt now. It's time to go to work. Wow, look at him go. He really thought to write about me when the world is in smokes? When it's people in trees? When George was begging for his mother saying he couldn't breathe? You thought to write about me? Nobody talks about this verse. Nobody talks about this verse.
Yo, honestly, I want to hear that again. Run that back.
Smokes, when it's people in trees, when George was begging for his mother saying he couldn't breathe, you thought to write about me? Nobody talks about this verse. Nobody talks about this verse.
Damn, bro, this camera be kicking my ass.
She is calling out the hypocrisy. And don't get me wrong, everybody's a hypocrite. I'm not mad at that. But when you then take this and constantly try to spin it in your favor, as if you don't have a degree in communications and know exactly what you're talking about, it's time to point that out. This is also around a time where a lot of people were poking at J. Cole for a cultural appropriation. Because if you remember in 2020, this is like the height of the social justice warriors, and J. Cole was a victim of that at the time. You see what I'm saying? A lot of people don't remember that. Okay? Little did I know.
Bro, literally, it's just all recency bias, and all the artists are just simply they're all playing into that. That's it. If something happened in the past, they're trying their best to make y'all forget, so that you don't even bother to think about that you keep that in the back of your head, you know? They want y'all to lose that memory. And they're going to replace it with a different memory instead. It's a wicked game, bro. It's a wicked game for real. Below, I don't like that word in context, but I couldn't think of another. I find myself forgetting words a lot for future reference, making me explain clumsily. So, girl, you're good. Don't even worry.
All my reading would be a bother because J. Cole had an issue with her reading. Is trans woman being murdered and this is all he can offer? This is all y'all receive? Distracted from the convo with organizers? They talking about abolishing police? And this the new world order? She broke it down to a T. And clocked his shit, bruh. This is exactly what J. Cole be doing, but nobody pay attention. Okay? I just wanted to point that out to let y'all know this is a consistent thing with J. Cole. Where he plays dumb and he punches down and tries to play this condescending role where it seems like he's lending you a helping hand as if he knows what he's talking about. He did the same thing to Little Pump. All right? Now that we got that out the way, let's move forward to 7-minute drill, okay? One of the parts in this song that I really want to talk about is when he starts talking about the controversy with Kendrick Lamar, right? He said, I came up off of bars, not no controversy. That's very interesting. Because from what I remember, J. Cole's career was very controversial. It's always been controversial. As a matter of fact, it's so controversial, if you go on Google right now, after you're done watching this video, you will see there are many articles talking about J. Cole and his controversy. Okay? But this is, once again, an attempt of J. Cole trying to rewrite history at the turn of a new decade, understanding that the new audience wasn't there to experience when he came up. I'm telling you, bro, he is a much more crafty manipulator than y'all think he is. Okay? And I even pulled up an article that came out the day he dropped 7-minute drill because people were like, wait a minute. You calling out Kendrick for controversy, but your career is full of controversy. And a lot of the controversy sometimes doesn't have much to do with just calling people out or diss tracks. It's more about the wild things you be saying in your music. Lyricism versus misogyny, social activism criticism, colorism controversies, allegations of insensitivity, which is not a big deal to me, cultural appropriation debates. We never talk about the fact that J. Cole and Drake are kind of similar in the aspect of being white passing rappers, right? Who use their ability to maneuver in both arenas to their power. And nobody talks about this stuff. And it's because J. Cole has done an amazing job at hiding behind this humble, I have no idea for possessions, minimalist perspective that he's given his audience that a lot of people have bought into. Okay? And let's read this. While J. Cole continues to captivate audience with his thought-provoking lyrics and captivating performances, controversies remain an integral part of his journey. As his career unfolds, it's evident that his impact extends beyond the realm of music, prompting important conversations about art, activism, and social responsibility. Love or criticize him, J. Cole's influence on the cultural landscape is undeniable, ensuring that his legacy will endure amidst the controversies that surround him. Okay? J. Cole has always been controversial, and I could break down a whole bunch of the controversies in his career, but that's not the meat and potatoes of this video, so we're not going to do that. Okay? And now we get into the part that's going to break a whole lot of hearts. Okay? What a lot of people don't remember because they were distracted by the Super Bowl performance, they were distracted by Lil Wayne crying about not being on the Super Bowl.
Boy,
and Young Money.
Don't even get me started with that I'm trying to think back and remember those moments where the controversy was very in our face, but I literally cannot remember any of them except the whole colorism one. The colorism controversy, that that was a little iffy, but because J. Cole is J. Cole, it's just another issue swept under the rug. All I really need to say right now is simply just, I'm really not surprised. I'm really not surprised, and sitting here just listening, understanding what's going on, it's not like I'm disappointed, but just knowing the fact that J. Cole is way better than this, it helps me understand more why it's so easy for him to be buddy-buddy with Drake. Not saying that they're best friends or that they're friends for real, but to see him be buddy-buddy, knowing that he's way worse of a master manipulator than Drake. Because Drake is just a product. J. Cole is an actual rapper. He's a lyricist. He knows how to put his words together. And with that communications degree that Jalopy keeps talking about, he really knows how to put his words together so he can kind of just, not necessarily manipulate, but kind of just like sway you in a sense. It didn't work on Kendrick because he's a higher power. But on the average rapper, that's easy money. It could work on Drake. That's why he probably never needed to do it, because he didn't want to embarrass him.
In collection,
I hope people now realize that there was never a big three. It was always just Big He. Facts. We're really breaking this down for real. We are literally dismantling the big three. Wow, what the hell is wrong with me? We are literally dismantling the big three in front of our faces. It's literally just Kendrick. There's no ifs, ands, or buts anymore. If you say Drake, J. Cole, and you add them to the big three, that's for you to understand that you're a fool and for us to just look at you like you are the clown. You know? It's just, the reality is, explaining this to the average consumer, it's not going to resonate with them. It's not going to work. So, in the overall, like, world, the big three is still there. But we know for a fact, in our communities, in our different communities in hip-hop, we know the truth. This is why I have an appreciation for YouTube. Because this YouTube community that we all keep flocking to daily, man, we really know what's going on for real. We're really getting to the shits. We're the real CNN out here, you know? So shout out to us for educating ourselves so we can know really what's going on around here.
And attempting to spin the narrative
shout
against
out to
Kendrick
the creators
Lamar.
and the content creators.
They forgot something very crucial.
What?
Okay? Let's go down to a certain lyric first. To remind y'all, J. Cole never mentions Kendrick by name.
Nope.
And what you got to remember is Kendrick is is assuming that J. Cole isn't aware that Drake is manipulating him, putting him out in the field first while he creates his game plan, and they can then team up and take on Kendrick Lamar, because it was supposed to be a 2-on-1, and that's why Drake was so mad that J. Cole backed out, right? He goes on to only mention Drake by name and tell him, "You'll always be my guy." Okay? And tapping back into your pen.
Ego.
Don't worry about the narratives. Tap back into your pen, bro. The rap ain't about beefing. It's about boom, boom, boom.
It's just simply playing into his ego. The easiest way to compliment Drake is to let him know that he got a pen. Even though he got no writing utensils for real, bro. He ain't got no pen. He got crayons. This guy writes his lyrics with crayons.
Right? But what if I told you J. Cole dropped this song to avoid a rap beef with Drake?
Explain.
I bet y'all don't remember.
Explain.
Right before Port Antonio came out, Drake was applying pressure on J. Cole. And even there was podcasts going on. You know what? I'm not even gonna say that, but I have a distinct memory of Mal even mention Mal from what's that show? You know what I'm talking about.
The New Maury and
Mal
Ralph.
even mentioning that Drake might be gearing up to go at J. Cole. That's what
Really?
he was insinuating. And what backs this up is the many different posts that Drake was posting to make fun of J. Cole. A lot of people forgot that Drake was making fun of J. Cole.
What's good, Slay? How you doing?
You don't believe me? Here you go. Drake on his backup account, Plot Twist, was sharing memes. I don't know if y'all remember when J. Cole went through that whole year.
First of all, that is just too childish, bruh. That is too all you gonna do is share memes, my nigga. Be so for real right now, man. Be so for real right now. Memes? Bro, this man is really a boy. He really a boy for real.
Year span of people just making fun of him nonstop because they thought he was corny, because they thought it was like, if you was there, you remember. This is one of the memes from that time, okay? It says, remember when J. Cole got his phone stolen out of his pocket by a fan and they called Jay-Z from it, but he wasn't answering. So they called from their own phone and he picked up. Basically insinuating Jay-Z ignored J. Cole's phone call, but when Jay-Z got a random phone number in his phone, he answered it. Okay? Why would Drake share this?
It don't even matter, Slay. You right on time. That's all that matters. You here. You know, you landed. Welcome.
Because he was making fun of J. Cole. Just like he made fun of J. Cole in Family Matters. You know who didn't make fun of J. Cole? Kendrick Lamar. So why would J. Cole then get on Port Antonio and big up Drake? Initially, you believe, it's because he's trying to be on Drake's side. He taking sides with Drake. He trying to play both sides. I believe he did this to avoid a battle. Because in reality, J. Cole fears confrontation. Just like Drake fears confrontation, but the difference is Drake can fear confrontation and still get into confrontation because he has a lot of powerful...
It's not that he fears confrontation. He's very mindful of the confrontation that he gets into. So I wouldn't go out and say he's afraid of it. J. Cole is the one that's afraid of it. Kendrick was simply the one that was turning the other cheek the whole time. Drake is a very big, well, not big, but he's a very aggressive master manipulator. J. Cole is a person that always preaches about peace and how you should protect it. And by that, he's just simply protecting his own peace by avoiding all conflicts, even though he welcomes it. It's like he welcomes it if necessary, you know? But Drake is very mindful of what conflicts he get into. Because every situation that he's in, he's always looking to seize a victory. He's not looking to lose. The Pusha T thing must have really rocked him to his core. And don't even get me started on Kendrick. Because look what's happening right now. But I feel like that's a better way of saying that part at least. But let's keep going.
Drake can fear confrontation and still get into confrontation because he has a lot of powerful sources to back him up with the bots, the propaganda, etc. So even though he fears confrontation too, it doesn't matter because he's used to using the industry and the powers that be to give him the upper leg on anybody, right? J. Cole doesn't have this power. So J. Cole is fearful of confrontation. You want even more proof? Besides the apology to Kendrick Lamar and the ignoring the fact that Drake was antagonizing him. Okay? Guess who else has been going at J. Cole recently? Kanye West. And what did he decide to do in his recent Dream Fest festival? Let's take a look. He decides to show love to Ye at the concert.
He running.
The same guy who dissed Kanye West when Kanye was in a straitjacket and he couldn't say nothing.
Yup.
But now that Kanye's outside and he's on Twitter going on rants and, you know, Kanye's saying some crazy shit, whatever. But the fact is, Kanye is still able to spin a narrative on somebody who isn't as powerful as a Kendrick Lamar. Of course, it won't work against Kendrick because Kendrick at this moment is the most powerful in the game.
Facts.
Right? But J. Cole don't want no issues with nobody. And once again, when the heat is starting to catch up on him and Kanye West continuously going at J. Cole, calling him a false idol, calling all these different things, here he goes showing love. Right? Which is interesting to me because how you diss a dude while he's in a mental facility, but now you ready to give him his flowers. All of a sudden, now that he dissing you. Okay? The last thing that nobody's paying attention to. Okay? Notice, Drake loses the battle. He goes to the Australian tour and starts this whole like pity sympathy tour.
Okay.
Right? Where he's got bullet holes in his shirt. He's all sad and stupid. All this different stuff, right? I got an album coming out for you guys where I'm gonna talk about what's really going on and all this different stuff. J. Cole, ever since the rap beef, been playing into nostalgia very much.
How so?
Have you noticed that?
Explain.
Playing super heavily into nostalgia to the point where he's giving this whole idea and painting everything as a farewell tour. J. Cole is currently on a farewell tour.
What?
Just like when Kobe was leaving the league and Kobe, you know what I'm saying, people knew this was his last time.
He didn't announce the
J.
fall-off.
Cole is creating the same idea. But the reason why he's doing this is because that's the only way he can get people, or at least his personal fan base, to stick with him during this final stretch of his career. He did the same thing last night, where the whole entire show, he sent, or for a good amount of the show, from a lot of the clips that I've seen, he's playing on nostalgia. He's playing on playing this and playing and going back to his old days. When in the 7-minute drill song, he was talking about just now hitting his prime. If you just now hitting your prime,
you're not in your prime,
why are you going on a farewell tour?
You're not in your prime.
Why are you insinuating that you are about to retire? Because this is the only way he can spin the narrative back in his favor. It's no different than what Drake is doing. No different than what Drake is doing. Okay? And what people don't understand...
Yo, the one thing about artists, anytime they announce they're retiring, they're leaving and all that, they're never gone forever. Because they need more money. That's a fact. There's an outlying fact. Look at, what's a good example? Look at Logic. Logic Ben said he was done because he tired of Joe Budden making fun of him. And then what does he do? Come back and make fun of his father. Now, I don't like Logic personally because of, you talk about you black, but I don't see it. But my point is like, a lot of artists, they do this all the time. They say, we're going to retire. We're going to take a step back from music. I lost passion for what I cared about. I don't know. Maybe I have to like take some time and go away for a little bit. Bro, it's all marketing, bro. They want the attention. Because it's going to end up being ticket sales or album sales. Or anything in between. No, he's black from the waist. Don't you just... Oh, wait, you mean he's black from the... You mean he's black from the waist down? You just don't get it, man. Exactly. Kendrick don't say he leave. He just disappeared for real. But, yeah, no, like, that's literally it. History has shown artists will do this and then come back. That's their break. And then they come back with the tracks that they have, whatever. Like, yo, they're not leaving. They're taking breaks. It's just that now they're all announcing their break. Meanwhile, you have Kendrick, like what Tiff said, he just disappeared. You know what I'm saying? He gonna choose when he gonna come back.
Saying is Drake and J. Cole are a lot more similar than people get them credit for. And I would break that down, but that would take a whole nother video that, you know what? I'm not 100% sure invested to know if I really want to do that video. but I just might. If y'all let me know, if you want that video, I will break it down. It's alarming how similar Drake and J. Cole actually are. The only difference is J. Cole was able to at least grow up in America. So he has a better understanding of certain things that a Canadian would not.
Nope.
That's the only difference. And it sounds crazy until I make the video and it really gets surgical. Then you're going to really see, oh, wait a minute. This is crazy. Okay? But you got to pay attention to the fact that J. Cole is insinuating the fact that he's on a farewell tour. Okay? And this is the only way for him to spin everything in his favor. You see what I'm saying? There's a whole lot of crafty master manipulation going on here. And the reason why people don't get on Drake as much, J. Cole as much as they get on Drake about it, is because J. Cole is better at it. Okay? Drake can fool people who have no idea about the culture, who have no idea what's going on. What J. Cole has done is he's able to trick people in a way with his image. The image that he picked up, by the way, after To Pimp a Butterfly came out. But that's a whole different conversation. You see what I'm saying? But like I said, bruh, this guy is extremely crafty in what he's doing. You see what I'm saying? And it basically summarized everything we're talking about. I got my notes here. Okay? We broke down Snow in the Bluff. An attempt to show you that J. Cole has already done this, and this is a pattern of his. Okay?
You're getting predictable.
Also, we broke down No Gypsy's response, pointing out everything that I'm saying, but she wasn't famous enough for her voice to really get out there and for people to take it seriously. Situation. Okay? Then we get into the fact that he's fearful of confrontation, which is validated by him apologizing to Kendrick Lamar, for him dropping Port Antonio to slow down the Drake becoming angry and probably about to send shots at him, right?
True, we're not slow at all.
Who knows what Drake knows about J. Cole, right? And showing love to Kanye all of a sudden, even though you used to diss him. And now that he's applying heat on you, you showing love to Kanye to get him off your back. Okay? Then we look into Port Antonio or we look into the Dream Fest, and even the big show he did before that, I think it was like the Dreamville Memorial Show or something like that. It was something like that.
And they had that album or something.
Memorial Show or something like that. And he was doing a whole bunch of nostalgia, etc. during that stuff too. You see what I'm saying? It's a lot of mastery and manipulation going on here, bro. You gotta pay attention. Okay? I might make a part 3 depending on how the future turns out. Because I believe J. Cole is going to continue to do this. He has the opportunity, though, just like Drake had the opportunity, to let go of the things that are holding him to this image he's trying to portray to y'all, okay? And be himself authentically, okay? I think he actually has more of a chance to do that than Drake. And if y'all remember when I said about the Age of Aquarius, if J. Cole does do that, which he has the opportunity with the Fall Off album, he will see great results from it. And I think he will get back into the graces of the hip-hop culture. Because currently the hip-hop culture is looking J. Cole like he a sucker, bro. That's the reality of it, okay? But once again, this is Drake Isn't the Only Master Manipulator Part 2. Appreciate y'all for watching. Also, you love storytelling like Tupac's Brenda's Got a Baby or Sing About Me by Kendrick Lamar. You're going to love the vocal cords of A Broken Woman by me. We just hit 10K on it, and the comments are amazing, and I think that's why you would like it. You see what I'm saying? Go check that out. It takes 3 minutes of your time. Appreciate y'all for coming to watch. And let me know if y'all really want that Drake and J. Cole comparison video, because I really get into it. You see what I'm saying? But love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Talk to y'all soon.
Like, okay, let's be so for real. What do I really need to say to that? Bro, you did what you needed to do with that video, bro. You put dude on Front Street. One thing about Cole, though, is like, Cole hasn't done enough. I ain't gonna lie. I know a lot of people be looking at me crazy when I say that, but like, you ain't doing enough, bro. Like, come on, bro. I know you got the power to make it happen, but like, yo, what's good? What's good? There should be no reason for you to be beside Drake like that. We got Quickie in the chat. What's popping, bro? What's popping, bro? You came in here at the last 45 minutes. I'm only streaming for 3 hours today because I need to give my head a rest. You know? I'm going to be working on the reactions in the background, but I need to get my head a rest a little bit. Because, man, the way that sleep did not really happen last night. Bruh. Anyway. I don't think J. Cole should be done with the fall off. I understand you're trying to friggin' like write out your legacy and end it on a high note. But really and truly, there's still more for you to do. Especially after this apology. The apology alone should be telling a lot of people, yo, you got a lot to make up for what you did. We haven't forgotten what you did. You got things to do. So that's all I need to say. But look, I'm going to go ahead and get into another video. Let's go ahead and let's make it happen. Let's see what we can find.